Hi, my name is Treiner, and for my project on my paper, I'm going to be doing interpersonal communication. What interpersonal communication, in a nutshell, is communication between one person to one person to two people, one person to three. What it is not is communication to a group. It can be verbal or nonverbal. So it can be by telephone, by talking like I am now. If I was have to be talking to one person or two people, it can be email, text, Skype, Facebook messaging, and whatnot. Another thing about interpersonal communication, when I was first introduced to it, was in 1999. I had started a new job as a jailer or correctional officer in Lax County, Minnesota. They were extending the jail and did a mass hiring. They wanted us to be trained and trained quickly. So they sent us down to a Department of Corrections Academy, what they called it, which was a 3-week course in St. Paul, Minnesota. And about 2 or 3 days they spent on what they called interpersonal communication, or IPC. What it actually was a verbal judo class. And what this entailed is getting an inmate or an uncooperative person to do something when they're uncooperative, they don't want to do it. And it's using words instead of getting physical with them. And the way it pretty much goes is a greeting or an introduction if they don't know you. It's getting them to see you as a correctional officer, as a human, and vice versa, you seeing them, so you're trying to make some sort of a connection with them. May go into detail and ask them how they feel, trying to get them to understand how they feel, speaking to them in a non-threatening but monotone voice. And it starts out as getting them to understand what is going on, what they've done wrong, what you want them to do, and how it's in their best interest to do it. You explain the violation of the facility or the law and the order that you're giving them. You give them multiple chances. And when it's about time, usually about the third time to where the talking's done, you let them know what the repercussions for not following the order is. And you let them know it's in their best interest. They're not going to want it. I'm not going to want it. It's not good for anybody. What I found interesting about IPC is it really is better to get somebody to do something by talking to them. And on a personal point, it saves paperwork because I hated reports. Another thing about IPC, or interpersonal communication, is it's very broad and there's multiple theories underneath of it. One of which that I can relate to, or I've had a lot of experience with, and I agree with, is a social exchange theory. What the social exchange theory is it's an evaluation on rewards versus punishment, or an evaluation of the cost of a relationship in regards to rewards. So the way it goes is two people meet, and there's automatically an evaluation on what that person could reward you with or give you, or what this relationship you can get out of it. And then as the relationship continues, there may be more rewards, a give and take relationship. Once there becomes punishment, then there's a determination on the cost of their relationship and whether it's even worth continuing on, or whether a person is time to dissolve it. I have had many examples in my life on relationships. Basically went this way. Two of which I'd like to share is it can be with family, work, neighbors, friends, it doesn't matter. Mine was with the first example was with my brother. When I was a teenager, the rewards was, he was 7 years older than me. He had a car, he took me to concerts. I liked the party. His apartment was a venue for partying. It was a place to get away from my parents, kind of hang out. When I went into the Navy and I came back out, I visited him, I realized there's nothing that he could give me that I didn't already have. He's always been lawful. He's always used drugs, abused alcohol. As time went by, I rarely called him. When he called me, he was full of negativity. He was complaining about his job. He was complaining about getting fired from his job. He was complaining about his girlfriend, his fiance, his kids, especially our father. Constantly complaining about him. Everything was everybody else's fault, or on his life. He took no responsibility and still doesn't to this day. When I started having kids, I realized I did not want my kids to think he was as cool as I thought he was when I was a teenager or growing up. So I dissolved that relationship. The cost was way too much. Another example was actually at the workplace. One of the jobs I've had was a surveillance operator at a tribal casino in Minnesota. And our supervisor had a GED, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that she showed it and she had a lack of initiative. We had me, some college, another person, some college. We had a person with a bachelor's degree that was a former journalist, and we had a person, criminology, going for her master's. We were young, we were hungry for knowledge, and once we had that knowledge, we found we did not need her anymore. Another thing that ended up happening was we were a regulatory agency, but we were not writing or looking for regulatory violations. We were looking for procedural. Procedural was dealers clearing hands, paper trails on jackpots and machine fills, cashiers spreading the money out the way they're supposed to. Regulatory is more in-depth, federal, state, tribal, all have different regulations. It was extensive and we didn't know them. But we ended up on our own, without our immediate management support, learn the regulations to follow that directive. The problem is reading regulations is written in a lot of legal terms. And deciphering or interpreting those legal terms can be a challenge. We were not allowed to skip the chain of command, so all of our questions was an email form going up the chain of command and down. And we had the supervisor, manager, director of surveillance, assistant, and the big boss. So it went through, literally through 4 people to the 5th person. And what ended up happening was people put their 2 cents all the way up, and people put their 2 cents all the way down, to the point to where when we got the answer to our question, it didn't make much sense. Eventually, over time, we got it down. We started looking for regulatory issues. Again, the regulatory was new to the property too, so a lot of the procedures didn't fit the regs, and it was our job to kind of match that in. We did it. We got it done. What ended up happening, we were getting bored. We weren't being challenged anymore. And that's when the relationship started dissolving. There was better opportunities elsewhere. There was very few opportunities to move on. We ended up losing everybody. I ended up going to supervisor, new challenges, got remotivated. I ended up leaving anyways because I got bored again. And there was a push-pull relationship when this happens, when a person knows more than their supervisor, and the supervisor is stuck in a rut and doesn't want to move on to better themselves in order to better their people that they're supervising. The others end up moving on too. The bachelor's guy ended up going to security management. The master's person ended up getting her master's degree and moving to Vegas and works for a casino out there. The other person ended up skipping the tribe completely and gaming completely, and ended up starting working for social services in a neighboring county. Basically, our cost outweighed the benefits that we were getting, and people leave people, they rarely leave jobs, and that's what we left. We left our management. That's pretty much it. Just to recap, interpersonal communication is communication, verbal, nonverbal, between one person to one person to 2, 1 to 3, not group. And social exchange is a relationship or evaluation of a relationship to see whether the cost outweighs the benefits. Going for the benefits, when there's more punishment or cost than benefit, then normally the relationship ends. If there's no benefits, the relationship may not even evolve or continue. And that's it for today. Thank you. Goodbye.